Our listeners and viewers will come back. Now we are going to tackle politics.
Yeah.
There was a 14 days
Ultimatum.
or notice. Did you hear about it?
Of course, yes.
And I think now only like 6 or 8 days remaining.
Maybe, yeah. Most likely 8, 9. Yeah.
And it was issued by
None other than Raila
Amor Odinga, the Azimio leader, in the presidential Biala in our last election. How do you say about this ultimatum?
You know, Kiarie, I started telling you here a long time ago that when Raila started saying that election was rigged and all those kind of things, and starting meetings and all those kind of things, I told him that ultimately he wants to overthrow the government of President William Samoei Ruto. And people thought that I was not.
When you say overthrow, some of us will have sleepless nights.
Yeah.
Because we work for this government.
Yes.
We campaign for this government.
That is the whole idea, and that has been the motive behind it. Yeah. That is the objective. Overthrow the government of William Samoei Ruto.
Yeah.
And the reason is, Raila has realized that through the ballot, he'll never win the election in Kenya. So he has decided.
But there is 2027.
But what chances does he have of winning that election?
He has Mother Karua and Kalonzo.
Let me ask you, Mother Karua, how much votes did she get in her own polling station? How much votes how many votes did she get
400.
in Kirinyaga?
Almost.
Let me ask you, Mother is a non-entity. Mother Karua is in the past. Mother Karua is not even in the present.
She's the one who brought 1.2 million.
Let me tell you something. Mother Karua does not count anywhere in the politics of the Republic of Kenya. Mother Karua cannot get you any votes. Let me tell you something. She just realized that in Kirinyaga, she has been forgotten. She goes back there, she will not ever be elected, even an MCA. And she does not even have the courage to vote Grishi, even in the next election. Yeah. So for her political relevance, for her to remain politically relevant, that is why she joined Raila, and that is why she's still studying with Raila. Because outside Raila, she is politically irrelevant, totally completely, together with Kioni.
Yeah.
They count nowhere. Actually, nothing. They are a non-status, kabisa, non-status. Yeah. And therefore, let me tell you something. So, Raila is only bringing Mother Karua there and whoever Kwamarwa and these Kalonzo Musyoka Paranya, just for the sake of the face of it, just people to think that Kenyans are with them. But I can tell you something. It's only the Jaluos community that can go to do Madamano in Nairobi. Yeah. Every other community will not find them there. Yeah. Except maybe for 1 or 2 people that will be bought by Kioni with his small money. And then the ones that goes to beat sufurias and sahanis and all those kind of things. And those ones you can find them there. But I can tell you, nobody is willing to go for the Madamano. People are facing serious challenges, economic challenges, and especially because of the drought that is prevailing in that country. So people don't have that time. They have other businesses to mind about. Yeah. They have school fees to pay. They have children to feed. They have house rents to pay, and all those kind of things. Yeah. They have businesses to take care of. They have no time for Mandamanos. And even if they insist on the Mandamanos, I'll tell you one thing. Let them not think that Raila has the monopoly of violence. And we must tell him this. He doesn't have the monopoly of violence. And the Hasra nation is ready to defend the government of William Samoei Ruto at whatever cost. Okay. Then let me say this. Raila has said that he's ready and they're ready to die. And I want to tell the Azimio guys and the Azimio people, when Raila says that he's ready to die, he's not talking about himself. And even when Mother Karua says that she's ready to die for it, she's not talking about her dying. Raila is only interested in occupying State House at your expense. You die for him. You go for the Madamano, die for him. Himself will not die. You go there to Madamano with his own bodyguards. When it gets serious and the chaos erupt, you just get into his car and run away. But the people, the ordinary Mwananchi there, is the one that will face the bullet, is the one that will face the tear gas, is the one that will be crowbarred even by the police officers. So there is no death for him. Himself is, you die, and as we bury you, let me get into State House.
There is this notice, 14 days. And it's, I think by next week, by the end of this week, it might be almost lecturing. Why is the government silent about this? Because saying that they'll push for travel ban for, is that enough?
Let me tell you something. Let me ask question by question. The ultimatum. First of all, the ultimatum. It is true, Raila gave ultimatum. It is not the first one he has given. He has given many other ultimatums before. And you are telling him, and why the government is quiet, if the government is not just keeping quiet, it is watching him. Let us see what he's going to do.
How many meetings have they gone?
Around 13,
okay.
14 there. The government is just watching over him because constitutionally, we are allowed to picket, we are allowed to demonstrate, we are allowed to do those kind of things. But the moment you step beyond those boundaries, then you face the full force of the law. And the moment they will say that they're going to attack State House, that is the moment they will face the full force of the law. One, and I'm telling William Ruto, and I have to tell him right now, don't fear Raila, because Raila, one thing, thinks that he's above the law. He thinks that he cannot be arrested for whatever reason. Himself, he comes himself above the law. And that is why he breaks the law at every turn, whenever he thinks it's necessary.
Even calling the president any manner of
names, whatever it is, and even doing whatever he wants to do because he thinks that he's above the law. I want to tell the president this. One, don't give Raila a chance. If he dares to attack State House, arrest him. Put him in the docks. Arrest him. Let him be inside. Let him be a guest of the state. And the reason is, one, if Raila, for example, would manage to overthrow the government today, where would you put William Ruto?
In prison.
In prison.
Yeah.
So then, and what would you
what would he use to prison put area?
Yes, put him before. Put him there inside there. Yes, sidio. And kama wanaandamana waandamane. Kana wanatupa mawe watupe.
So you are telling the Kenya Kwanza government, arrest Raila.
Arrest Raila and Kalonzo and Mother Kalua. These and Kioni, these are the people that have been spearheading the attacks against the government and spearheading these Madamano things, and even people telling people to become violent. They should be put inside. Let them stay there. Simple. Simple. If you cannot put Raila in prison, put him under house arrest.
Let me ask you. There are some rumors. As per now, there are rumors that the President Uhuru Kenyatta is supporting this Asmia thing. Is it true? How can a president serve for 10 years, then support such activities like this?
Let me tell you something. Leave President Uhuru out of this.
So he's
President Uhuru will never become president again in Kenya. He will never become president again in Kenya.
Is he supposed to
whether he's supporting it or not supporting it, leave him out of it,
because supposed to detach himself from Azimio leadership?
What is
because
supposed
they are
to
mentioning, because it's Azimio which is planning.
It's okay. It's Azimio that is planning.
He's the chairman.
But the president, that former president, has not come out openly to say that he's supporting the Mandamano.
But he says my leader is Raila Amolo Odinga.
Yeah, you can say this is my leader, but you may not support. You may not necessarily support what he's saying. Like for example, your father may want to marry a second wife. He still remains your father, but do you really support him marrying the second wife? But you cannot deny that he's your father.
So who going on top of the car to say Raila is my leader?
Does not necessarily translate into saying that I support Mandamano. It doesn't necessarily mean the same thing. So leave Uhuru Kenyatta. Let us first of all leave Uhuru Kenyatta out of this. Okay. He has not even been to those Mandamanos. Let us first of all deal with Raila himself once and for all. Let him be put inside. And if somebody is going to die, let him be the one that will die. First and foremost, before we bury anybody else, let him be
the front liners too.
Yes.
Do you think Raila can also Mother Karo will be in the front line
and let them
marching to State House?
That is what we want to see. Let them come with let them be there together with their own wives and their husbands, if they have husbands, and their own children and grandchildren.
But you have kept telling him to come with their children. They don't. But because
they are using Kenyans. And they'll never bring their children there. They don't want their children to eat tear gas. They don't want their children to take or to bite a bullet or something or to be hit by a bullet. They don't want. They'll preserve their children. And if something goes wrong in Kenya, like if fracas erupted in Kenya today, they'll board the next flight to go out of the country in a safe place.
Raila has said that he doesn't want a handshake. Do you think Ruto should extend his hand to Raila?
Let me ask you something. It has been the greatest mistake even to allow Raila into any handshake. And he should not be around. Every time, because let me tell you, we did an election. An election is you lose, you win, you win. Even in America, we did election in 2020?
Yeah.
Where did Trump go? Did he have a handshake with Biden?
No.
We have election in Britain. Do you have a handshake with the Labour Party because Conservative is ruling?
No.
No. Why should we have handshakes in Kenya?
Yeah.
Let Raila maintain the normalcy of democracy. If you lose, take your own position as an opposition leader.
But he doesn't want that city that is going to be created by the government.
Yeah, because he doesn't want that. Because
He wants the servers open. You keep telling him that the servers were opened from the polling station. But he says he believes that depending on the whistleblower, that he is.
Let me tell you something. There is nothing about whistleblower. That is their own creation. There was nothing about whistleblowing. That is their own creation. They only created a certain figures and all those kind of things. Because let me ask you something. These servers were there, and even international community and even the media houses were there. Okay, fine. The way the election was conducted is after they were counted and everything and documented, you take a photo of that form, send it to the IBC, then take a copy of that form, post it on the door of the polling station. The others is carried by the returning officer, and the other, what do you call these other people? These people that got
clerks,
agents.
Yeah.
So let me ask you something. Which form? Because they are supposed to correspond. The form that is at the door of the polling station, the one with the agent, the one with the returning officer, and the one on the IBC portal.
Yeah.
Which one had a discrepancy?
None.
They never produced any evidence of discrepancy anywhere.
Yeah.
Again, if the whistleblower says that he counted and everything, they did this, the people that counted from the portal, like the media houses, international community, and even UDA and all those kind of things, they counted one by one form from the portal. This and this and this and this, and they arrived at a certain figure. And all those figures, they corresponded. The ones with the international media, international observers, with the IBC, and even UDA and others, they corresponded. And they never counted together. How did they arrive at that same figure? So this issue of at a whistleblower, this is total madness. There was nothing like that. It is just a creation to get an excuse of coming at the government so that they can get an excuse to overthrow the same government.
Let's come back to this ultimatum. It will lapse on the 14th day. And they have said they will go for mass action.
Let's assume, actually, not even mass action.
Yeah.
They are saying they want to march to State House.
Okay, let's assume they will do exactly that. What do we expect that day?
Let me tell you something. I want to tell you, Raila, even to be the earliest at Uhuru Park or wherever it is that they want to meet, let him dare do it. We want him to do. We want to see him do it. Let him dare do it. If he's a man enough, let him do it. Let him do it. And I want to tell him that let him not dare us, because even the hustler nation, we can match a man for men or even a man for two.
Do you think those people in Azimio that are telling Raila that we will march with you, they won't betray him in the last minute?
Let me tell you something. When he went to swear himself, how many people accompanied him?
Do you think Kalonzo will be there?
How many people accompanied him to Uhuru Park to swear himself?
Yeah.
So most probably, most of those people, those senior figures that you're seeing there, they will not even be there. Only it will only be Raila himself. And actually, who wants to be eating ugali in a committee? Okay. Anyway, let me tell you something. He can give as many ultimatums as he wants. But I can assure Raila today, I can assure Raila today that State House, you'll never occupy it for good until you die. And he has realized he's heading to his own death because age is catching up with him. He doesn't have many years to live. And he has realized he's going to die without ever occupying State House. That is why he wants to overthrow the government now. But I can tell him, you can be sure of one thing. You will die even before, or even without ever occupying State House. Simple.
Let me ask you a question as we add this. Do you think there's a card hidden by Raila to be used on that day?
Let me tell you something. If he had a card that he had hidden, he could have used it during the election day.
So he doesn't have any hidden card?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Okay.
But I want to tell the government, deal with Raila ruthlessly.
Without mercy?
Without mercy. Don't have mercy with Raila. Don't have mercy on him. Just deal with him ruthlessly. Ruthlessly. If it is putting him inside, let him be put inside. If anybody will die, let him be the first to die. But you cannot keep on disturbing the country and the peace of the country after every election.
Okay.
We are tired and sick of this thing. It has to come to an end. And it is the man, Ruto, he is the man that decided to bring this thing to an end. Yeah.
Another thing, as we end our show this evening, and I want to look for one response from George Muteti. He commented something about the topic we had there before. John Mudhaka, Bishop, he says, great talk. Thomas Gad once again wrote a response with the current economic hardship of which was brought by the previous handshake. I think even those attending those rallies gets handouts to attend. Do you believe so?
Yeah, there's a possibility.
Okay. Last weekend we saw...
And you can believe that because, like for example, the people that went with the Kiarie to beat Sufurias and Sahanis, do you think they went there for free?
No.
They were paid by Kiarie.
Maybe they were making some content. Okay.
And let me tell you something. And I want to tell Kiarie something. Kiarie, let me tell you something. The Kikuyus got whatever they wanted. They wanted to be in government. We are in government right now. What you are fighting for, you're not fighting for the Kikuyus. You're not fighting for the people of Mount Kenya. You're fighting for your own wife and your own children. And it doesn't mean that if your wife and children are fed, then the Kikuyus are fed. For us, we are contented with the William Ruto Samoei government together with the Rigathi Gachagua.
Okay, finally, last weekend we saw the first lady, Jill Biden. She visited Kenya. She was received well, and she was there for 3 days.
Yeah.
What is the significance of her visit?
One, it just shows how the great or the important relationship between Kenya and the US. One, two, it just signifies that the American government, led by Joe Biden, actually accepts the government of William Samoei Ruto as a legitimate government. Okay. Ready to work with that government of William Samoei Ruto.
Game shot.
Game shot.
Your parting shot?
My parting shot. Kenyans should not fear because of Raila. He's not going anywhere. Everything he has done has failed. And even this Madamano is going to fail. He has had 5 elections and he has lost in every one of those 5 presidential elections. And even this one, he's going to fail. So be at peace. Kenyans, be at peace and maintain peace. Don't be accepted to be used by somebody because of his personal ego. Thank you.
I'm your host, Kiarie Prestige. Till next Monday.
Thank you.